My name is Amie Bojang-Sissoho. I work for the National Radio and Television back home. I was asked to discuss the strategies we apply in the organization I volunteer for, that is GAMCOTRAP. And first of all, I want to give you a little bit of background to what GAMCOTRAP is all about. GAMCOTRAP, as said, is the Gambia Committee on Traditional Practices affecting the health of women and children. And it has been in the forefront of creating awareness about issues affecting us as women. And most of these issues relate to traditional practices, in particular female genital mutilation. We discuss women's empowerment, the need for positive attitudinal change towards improving the status of women. We use participatory approaches. Activities carried out include lobbying, advocacy, training, consultancy work, community-based program, research, documentation, and publication production. Because of harmful traditional practices affect women in various degrees and forms throughout their life cycle, GAMCOTRAP campaigns adopt multi-sectoral approaches involving children's rights, the human rights of women, education, social development, and health education. Whilst the goals of GAMCOTRAP have not changed over the years, there has been a general move towards incorporating the eradication of female genital mutilation, FGM, into part of a more comprehensive program. Education is one of the main pillars in the process of eradicating female genital mutilation. Building local capacities through training and information campaigns are our major tasks at the community level, and networking and lobbying at different fora are being carried out. The organization has also forged alliances with partner organizations and undertaken collaborative activities with relevant non-governmental organizations, NGOs. Who do we target when we go out in the communities? We target both men and women. The age varies from young to the old. They can be women leaders, they can be male opinion and religious leaders, they can be professionals. Here we mean health workers, teachers, media practitioners, and even law enforcement agents like police and the gendarmerie, and we also target politicians. Our ethnicity is as diverse as it is in the Gambia. They can be Mandinka, Sarahule, Fula, Jola, Wolof, any group that needs the information. The language depends on who we are targeting. The area covers the whole country with different program activities. For example, the UNICEF-funded program is targeted in the central and upper river divisions of the Gambia. The girls' education program is countrywide. The lecture program is nationwide. Mostly schools and youth clubs invite the organization to go and talk about traditional practices. And our advocacy role takes us across the nation, sub-region, and internationally. The holistic approach we use is to discuss the issues relating to reproductive health, rights of women and children, the girl child in particular. These include early marriage, female genital mutilation, family planning, HIV/AIDS, teenage pregnancy, women's economic empowerment, among others. All of these are discussed within the cultural context in which we operate in the Gambia. The topics are dealt with in different ways. For instance, when we start a training program, we start with brainstorming to find out from participants how much do they know about the topics we have identified to discuss during the session. Then we also have lectures to follow those brainstorming sessions and presentations, and we also use group discussions where in smaller groups the participants will reveal a lot more than they will be more comfortable in those smaller groups than in a big group. Where do we get the information we discuss? Our information is mainly reflective of what we hear from the community. When we go to the villages, the towns, during meetings and workshops, a lot of people somehow have confidence in one or more of our staff to come and tell us how and what their experiences are relating to the issues we are talking about. Identifying those issues, be they through even workshops like with the religious leaders. We have been approached in from different aspects, where you have a religious leader who is, you thought, have all the knowledge about a particular issue, especially female genital mutilation, coming to us humbly to explain that definitely they didn't have these details about the practice. They were just ignorant about it because it was a taboo, nobody talked about it, so it was assumed that everything was okay. And this is how we gather this information. Like, if we go to the community and we found the women at the well, some of us will go out to help with drawing the water. As we are doing that, we are discussing with them. And they are more confident in that status to reveal a lot more than if they have a big group sitting down to discuss. So we use that approach. Or whether they are doing their pounding. In fact, when we join them to do the pounding, they'll be laughing, surprising that they thought people from urban areas cannot do the pounding. And then we explain to them our backgrounds and how things have changed, going to school, doing the pounding and all those things. This is the way we build confidence within the target group and try to get information. We call the Council of Elders, if there is one readily accessible, or they have village development committees, they call them, or if they are not well organized, they don't have a well organized village development committee, each of those committees have their recognized community leader as a women's leader, as a youth leader, and then the men also have influential people in the community. So these people are called by the Alcalo, and then GAMCOTRAP representatives there will repeat what we told the Alcalo about our mission, so that they will understand from us why we are in the community. And from that process, then the target group we are interested for that particular trip will be identified. If we are interested in the women, they will identify the TBA, that's the traditional birth attendant. They will identify the women's leader, and then together we will discuss in detail, without the other men who are around, to further discuss how we are going to strategize and make a program into the community. And then during workshops, we also give respect to our religious issues such as prayer time. Because when you're doing a program and it's prayer time and people are interested in going to pray, they will not listen to what you're talking about. You have to respect those during your programs. For instance, we went to Kantelikunda. I'm sure most of you don't know, but it is one of the remotest places in the Gambian, next to Fatoto village in the Upper River Division. When we went there, we were doing a focus group discussion, finding out information about the practices and how the different traditional practices are done in the community. It took us days there. We didn't realize that the community members were also observing us, the way we deal with them in the community. And it was on the last day when one of the old women started singing for us. And listening to the song, it was interpreting that when we came, we ate their food, we drank the water they gave us, and we didn't look down upon them. And these are things mostly people look as not important, but they are very important. For instance, when you are given a cup in a community to drink, you know for sure that this cup is really dirty. And you decide to drink it. For some people, they won't drink it because they look at the cup and say, what a dirty cup, why should I drink water from this? We don't do that. What we do is we drink from the cup, and then we use that opportunity to sensitize them about the importance of hygiene and how to keep that cup clean, away from the young ones, away from the flies and all those things. And within that, even though we are there to discuss female genital mutilation, we are concerned about their general health and well-being. And that was an opportunity to explain to them how to keep the cup clean. And these are things they appreciate. And I remember one of them, which I have put into my presentation, by Jenaba, is the women's leader in Kantelikunda. She told us at the end, you did not wipe your feet with a handkerchief when we took you up the hills, and you drank the water we offered you. That was why we are willing to share our experiences with you. During during the trip, going uphill, we had lots of information about the community. How many kids died because of female genital mutilation? They told us during that trip. It was not during the meeting. So, how you approach people, how you bring yourself down to a level, not because you want to be looked down upon, but because you have to be understood by the people you are dealing with. As we approach our activities in the communities, discussions are a very important aspect of our activities, because it is during these discussions that a lot of issues are revealed among themselves. For instance, when you bring together circumcisers from different parts of the country, the experience was that some of them were shocked. But when the circumcisers met and discussed what they do, that was a shock for some of the circumcisers who thought that, no, that's not possible, it's happening here. Yes, it is happening, because that is the way they understood what they were doing. So information sharing is important. The other issue I wanted to raise is, when you're dealing with people, we are sure that in GAMCOTRAP we have divided the Gambian community into three. People who will listen to you and accept immediately what you are talking about. Another group who will listen to you, but they want to watch and see who will die first before they enter. And then you have another group who will never, ever accept what you are talking, despite all the information and knowledge. So we try to base our energies and our activities with the first two groups. That is those who will listen to you and understand immediately and accept what you are talking about. And the second group that will listen, go back, do further research on their own so that they will come back to us. And we have very sincere ones who even came back to us to tell us, we're sorry, at first we had a misconception of what you were talking about. We've gone back to find out more about these issues, and it is right that this is happening and that is happening. So the way you talk to people and the way you try to get information is very important. There is a lot of misconception about GAMCOTRAP. I'm sure if this was a workshop situation and I asked the question, what have you heard about GAMCOTRAP? A lot of negative issues will come from some people. But it happened with one of the National Assembly members when we were trying to organize an internal meeting for National Assembly members from all the parties in the Gambia. From the ruling party, the person who came said, at first when the invitation was sent, the person was told that she should not honor the invitation because the organization is against government. The person sought another opinion and was told, if you want to know what they're doing, why don't you go? He said, okay, I'll go and spend maybe a few hours to find out what's going on. The person spent the whole day with us. It was a shock and a pleasant surprise that the person, since then, even if the person hears an activity where we are not sure of the type of information we hear about organizations, it is better to find out what they are doing. Because an embarrassing situation happened in Upper River Division with a young man. We went there discussing as a focus group with different target groups. We wanted to discuss with the male youth, female youth, women, and the men. And when we went with the youth group, this boy has traveled all over Europe and now settled back home. Just has a preconceived mind about what to say when he ever meets us. Just said, I know what you people want. You want me to say female genital mutilation is not good and it should be eradicated. I won't say that, because what you people want is our women to be like the white women who, when they see a man, they will just jump over you. I was recording him because we wanted to use the material afterwards to transcribe what we were doing. I just looked at him and said, so, a white woman jumped over you because she is not circumcised. If you strongly believe in Islam, the one you are trying to push here, then you should be dead by now, because in Sharia, what were you doing to have that woman come so close to you to be jumping over you? You know. And then we didn't realize that the women were in the one of the rooms listening to us. I'm telling you, the number of food bowls we had for lunch that day surprised all of us. Each of them rushed to bring lunch for us. And then said, I come in Maninka, I come wallet, but it be a annual bedtime. And we didn't understand what was going on. It was later that they explained to us how he boasts about issues and, thinking he's knowledgeable and all these things about women's issues. So it is important for us to find out facts about what we are doing and before we make comments. That we are very bold as far as the issue of women's advocacy is concerned. We are prepared to die for it because we strongly believe that what we are talking about is not a white person's issue. When you talk about land, women to have the right to land to cultivate, it's not the white woman who needs that land. It's the woman who goes to the furrow who needs that land. When we talk about girls' education, it is not the white woman who is living in Gambia who needs girls' education. It is us in our culture who decides that you don't have enough money, so I'll take the younger boy, even though he's younger, rather than the sister who is older to go to school. How many of us are here whose sisters didn't go to school while they went to school? These are not white people's issues. These are real issues that are existing in our society. And it is not against Islam to discuss these issues. But these are the misconceptions. Because you think you know more than a woman, you tend to misguide them with information. And I think that is one thing we have to be thinking of and to understand when we talk about issues affecting women. Our networking activities takes us beyond the Gambia. Some people hear about the organization just get the money. That is a very interesting one. Because as far as GAMCOTRAP is concerned, all our funding, most of it comes from the Gambia, with the UN bodies there. What we do is we sit down to write proposals to say, okay, we want to enlighten, let's say, 30 women. Where are we going to do it? We develop that proposal, go out, sell it to the UN bodies or international organizations there. If they agree with what we want to do, they fund us. If they don't agree, sometimes they want you to put their own agenda there. If you don't agree with them, they won't fund you. So you move on and go to another one. This is how we get our money. The other way we get our money is that people traveling to the Gambia as tourists or just individuals wanting to know may hear about the organization. They come to the organization's office and find out more about what we do there and decide to say, okay, I don't have money to fund your project, but I have £1,000 to give you. Then we open an account. This is where we have the girls' education funding coming from. And there was one with the Preston Girls Education from the US who decided to fund, and that is why the organization is stressing on education and enlightenment programs. Hence, the empowerment of the girl child is very important for the organization. The main difficulty we encounter during the implementation of GAMCOTRAP's program is the lack of political support and will from the Gambia government with regards to the issues we raise, that are raised by the organization. In most cases, the issues are seen as sensitive and inappropriate for women to discuss them. When we talk about family planning, they said women should not talk about family planning. Who give birth to the babies? Who breastfeed? Who take care of these babies? It is the women. We are not allowed to say how much suffering we go through. A man can stand up and talk about it, it is fine. He has the power and authority to do that, but we are not allowed to. For instance, there was a point where one of the imams have all the power to use his during his khutbah to castigate whatever we're doing, and we are not, and that is broadcast on both radio and television. And as an organization dealing with those issues, we are not allowed to give our versions of what was going on. I think this is unfair to us and to whatever we are doing. The recognition of GAMCOTRAP is throughout the country. Today, I don't think there is any activity that relates to women and children in the Gambia where GAMCOTRAP is not represented. We have been recognized for being bold about the issues we raise. Therefore, whenever there is an issue that relates to women and children, we are mostly invited to participate in the discussion and the development. And I'm proud to say that one of them is the National Policy for the Advancement of Gambian Women and Children, which we participated from the beginning to the final product when it was being passed in Parliament. To conclude, I would say that the strategies we adopt by now should be clearer to you as to when I started. And I wish to congratulate the Gambian community in Norway for its interest in the efforts being made back home, and especially about women's issues. It has given me the hope that the struggle for attitudinal change, for the well-being of all, in particular the recognition of the rights of women and the girl child as human rights, is worthwhile and more important than ever. As Gambians living abroad, I'm sure you have first-hand experience that culture is not static, and the social, economic, and even the political and environmental factors also determine how we live. GAMCOTRAP appreciates the recognition of its efforts and look forward for the continued collaboration and support with all Gambians and friends interested to the empowerment of women and the girl child and creating awareness for a better community. I would just want to say finally, I have 10 questions and answers. I don't think it is fair to delay Doctor anymore. I know I talk a lot, but if anybody is interested in it, I will give it to Omar for you to photocopy it, maybe for those interested. The questions and answers are about issues we are attacked about. Let me just read the questions and not the answers. For instance, what is female genital mutilation? Question 2. Female genital mutilation is our culture. Why should it be stopped? 3. Women have survived the practice for thousands of years. Why stop it now? 4. In Gambian cultures, girls have to be virgins at marriage. If they have not gone through the practice of FGM, how can they be virgins? 5. FGM is a religious injunction. Women should not practice it. 6. It is a sunnah, practice or advice attributed to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You wouldn't want the sunnah to be performed on our women. 7. Some Islamic scholars claim it purifies the woman for the man's pleasure. What do you have to say about that? 8. In any case, I have the right to do what I want with my daughter. Is there a problem with that? 9. What other reasons are there for the campaign to stop the practice in the Gambia? And 10. Anything else you want to say? These are the questions, but I've ended with something to say. Stop, think, act now. You can protect a girl child in your family from female genital mutilation by respectfully discussing it with the parents and enlightening them. You never know how much talking can save one girl from harm unless you try. Do your bit to protect the girl child from all forms of harmful traditional practices. Thank you.